Happy Friday, everyone. Happy Friday. So I'm on multiple platforms and we're going to talk about money tips for college graduates. Those who don't know me on the other platforms, I'm also on Instagram on my phone. I am Janae Adams. I'm an international speaker and author. I do go around the world sharing my story of how I paid off $50,000 of debt in 2 years. And so each and every year I speak to at least 10,000 college students a year at least. And so the tips I'm going to share with you is just some of the things I've seen over the past 10 years dealing with high school students, college students, as well as employees in corporate America, and actions that can be taken right after graduation to be able to financially prepare yourself for the rest of your life, especially the rest of your working life. So those are the tips that we're going to go over today. So let's get started. So tip number one, don't spend your entire check. Yes, when you start your career after college, it is the most money you've ever seen in your life. So a lot of times we go crazy with that money because we never had it before in our lives. So a lot of people like to share their opinion about professional athletes and how they just spend their money, all willy-nilly. But it's just a mental frame when it comes to finances. That's all it is. And if you're new to a career with money you never made before, you're going to be in the same mindset as a professional athlete and going to do the exact same thing. So they get millions of dollars and then they go and spend millions of dollars. You get tens of thousands of dollars in a salary and you go and spend your check the same exact way as a professional athlete or as a movie. Anybody who makes millions, like movie actors that we see go broke, you do the exact same thing. So it's just the type of mindset with your money that happens when you're making more money than you ever made before. So the mistake that I see a lot of college graduates made, they get that first career going and they see that they're making, 50, 70, 80, depending on what your major is, $100,000 a year. And you realize, okay, I've never made this money before. Let me go out and rent me a 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment, even though it's just me. Let me go and get a new car because all through college, I had to ride the shuttle. I had to borrow a ride from friends, but I'm about to have my own car now and I'm making sure it's going to be $20,000 and up. There's no way that I'm going to go look for a used car because the only thing I need the car for is to get me back and forth to work and the grocery store. No, I am going to get me a brand new car with a $400, $500 or $600 car payment for the next 5 to 7 years. So I've got the 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment. I got this new $500, $600 car payment. And guess what? I have this new apartment, so I must furnish it. And I'm going to furnish it with buy now, pay later furniture that I may not know because this happened to me. So it can happen to other people. Is that if you can have these zero payments, zero interest, but if you don't pay it off in the 5 years, guess what? All that interest comes back up and makes you pay more than the furniture is actually worth or what you originally bought it for. So college graduates those three things are automatic. And maybe not the car, but that apartment, furnishing it, that is automatic, especially if they move to a new city for that career. All right. And what the entire time that we are doing that as new college graduates, we forget that if we have student loans, that in 6 months, that student loan payment starts to come due. All right. And that student loan payment can range. It can be $200, $400 a month, depending on how much you borrowed, $1,000 a month. But by the time that happens in 6 months, you've already got to the point that you have financially exhausted your paycheck. All your money is going to rent, is going to possibly that car payment, is going to paying back furniture and whatever else you're doing. All right. Whatever else you're doing, you may have credit card debt in 6 months because you're like, I've got it, I can pay it. But then you get behind on that. And now guess what? Student loans want their money and they are going to get their money each and every time. And yes, right now, because it's on a pause to September, at the end of September, it makes it even harder for new college graduates to get into the habit of realizing that I'm going to have to pay these student loans back. because we don't know if that is going to be extended. But if it's not, when your 6 months hits, you're going to have to pay that student loan bill. And like I said, unlike everybody else that may give you chance at a chance, student loan payments is not it. And you will have to pay them back. Okay. So that's tip number one for those of you just joining me on either of these platforms. Do not spend your entire check. Don't get it all wrapped up into all these different payments and all this different debt, not understanding what can be in front of you. All right. So that's tip number one. Tip number two is to save $1,500. Okay. Save $1,500. I'm serious. Some people may be thinking, what? $1,500? Yes. Before you do anything else, start using your paychecks to get to that $1,500 threshold. All right, saving that $1,500. This is going to go into your in case you're breathing fund. A lot of people call it emergency fund. I call it an in case you're breathing, because if you're breathing, something could possibly happen. You are no longer in your parents' or your guardian's home. You are no longer on somebody's campus. You are on your own. And the world does not care about whatever your sad story may be about why you can't pay them their money if your toilet breaks, why you can't pay them their money if your brakes go out on your car or you need a new tire. They're just going to want their money. That's it. They're just going to want their money. And so that in case you're a breathing fund of $1,500 is going to make sure these people get their money. And that's what it's for, to make sure that they get their money. And so it doesn't matter how you get it. You can do it by adding money from your paycheck each and every other week or once a month, however you get paid, or you can do that plus work an extra job or do some, teaching tennis or something I did when we were paying out the $50,000 of debt, whatever it may be. Sell things, I don't care. But the $1,500 has to be saved immediately as soon as you can. Do not do anything else until that $1,500 and say, don't go on vacation to, celebrate you being out of college. Don't buy a whole bunch of stuff, nothing. Get your $1,500 first, because what that does when you have that cushion under you, then when emergencies come, you won't go into more debt. All right. You won't go and apply for a credit card and then put the emergency on there. And now you in debt way more than you may be already. Okay. And a lot of these institutions we just seen yesterday, Wells Fargo is stopping their personal line of credit. So even those kind of instruments may not be around much longer. So you need to be your own bank. And that's what I tell anybody that I speak on the stage with. You need to be your own bank. It makes life a lot easier. It makes you a lot more freer. All right. I am my own bank and I don't depend on anybody else. I don't depend on institutions. I am my own bank. And that's what I want you to start your life off as a college graduate, is to get that $1,500 and put it where you hardly can touch it except for an emergency. So that needs to be, of course, in a savings account. So, and put some hurdles in front of it so that you only use it for an emergency. Okay. So that's tip 1 and 2. Tip 3 is pay attention to your benefits. This is so important. This is so important to start off the right way when you have a career, when you start your career off. So important. All right. So important. So if you haven't listened to me on the first 2 tips, listen to this, especially if you work at a company that has benefits. Yes, it is a whirlwind when you're starting your first job. I like calling it a career. I don't like calling it a job, but when you're stepping into your first career, I know it's a whirlwind. You have training material. You have people telling you this and telling you that. You have a meeting with HR, and that's where it goes down. And HR is throwing papers at you. They're throwing company lingo at you that you don't know what it stands for. They're talking with that jargon. You don't know what's going on. But this is where you need to lock in. Forget about the training materials that you need to be learning and for your manager or your boss, whatever it is. If you're in a meeting with HR is sending you emails, lock in during that meeting, because they are giving you the keys to your financial future. All right. They're giving you the keys for your financial future. Let's talk about healthcare benefits first, right? Healthcare benefits is extremely important. And Luckily, you already knew that before you took this job, because that's one of the things, in addition to salary, that you need to ask about, because healthcare is not cheap. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're 20, and I don't care definitely when you over 60. It's not cheap. All right. And so that's one of those kind of negotiation tools that you need to have in your pocket before you go on an interview. Those are the kind of things that I share with the college students I speak in front of. Like, we're not just talking about financial literacy. We're not talking about how I paid off the $50,000 of debt in 2 years. No, we're talking about life after college, to make sure that every aspect that you're about to step into, that you're financially taking advantage of it. And one of those things is the benefits we're talking about right now, and understanding your health care. Because if you don't listen to them around your health care before you sign up for it, you can end up paying duplicate services. I remember working with someone one-on-one, and they had basically healthcare insurance, basic healthcare insurance, but they also had breast cancer insurance. And I'm like, wouldn't your health insurance just cover that? And they were like, I guess so. They just said, put it extra if I wanted extra. I said, and that was costing that person an extra $30 a month. And we were trying to get this person out of tens of thousands of dollars in student loan debt. And I was like, no, get off of that. Take that $30 a month out. That was like $360 a year. That was just one expense. But that's what happens when you don't lock in during your benefits part with your human resources. Things like that happen because you're not paying attention. I worked in healthcare, pharmaceutical sales for over 10 years. I understand healthcare like the back of my hand. I understand healthcare like the back of my hand, period. And so anytime that I was sitting in front of human resources, or it was time to renew my healthcare benefits, I read over everything. I read over making sure I understood what I needed to pay out first before before the healthcare benefits would kick in, what drugs were covered, if I needed the generic or I needed the brand. That's the kind of thinking you need to have starting off with your health insurance with your human resources. I'm not going to stay long on this, but it's very important. Like I said, healthcare is very expensive. The good thing about healthcare and your benefits is that it starts over every year, but get it down packed the first year so you know what to look for year after year, which, by the way, in the next few months, you're going to be coming up on your new year and your new signing up of your healthcare benefits. So, and they can change each year. Right. And you sit there and sign up for the same, Blue Cross Blue Shield Blue plan again, and they don't even have the same stuff they had the year before, but you're not paying attention. And then you go to the doctor and like, why I got to pay for my glasses? Because you wasn't paying attention. And by the way, you no longer have dental. That was on the other plan that you didn't read about. Out. So that is how important it is for just that one portion of your human resources meeting is around healthcare. Next, investing. This is how you get ahead and don't have to work for the rest of your life. Your HR meeting around your investing part of your job and your career. 401k, 403b, whatever industry you're in. But majority of people are going to be in 401k. Some of you all have a Roth 401k. I am not a financial advisor. I just know this stuff like the back of my hand. But so I just want to put that disclaimer out there. But with your 401k, you need to listen to what they're saying and what the company offers. Okay. You need to listen and just focus, zone in. Don't think about what you go cook later on in the day. Don't think about when you're going out with friends, whatever. This is about your money and your future. And so you have to really understand what they're saying. So 401ks can be a 401k where you just put money in and there's no company match, or you could be blessed and guess what? You can have a company that matches it up to a certain percent. And so it could be up to 3%. It can be up to 5%. When I worked in corporate America, my companies usually did up to 5%. So the whole thing, what I'm saying about that is that if you don't contribute to your 401k up to the match, you're leaving free money on the table from the company. Your investing and your investments grow a lot faster when other people are adding to it. Okay. When other people are adding to it, it goes a lot faster. All right. Your money grows a lot faster. So that is the time that you need to listen to them and understand the differences in the investment vehicles that they offer. Like I said, it can be a Roth 401k, it can be a 401k. You probably can even work with the investment firm that is part of the company, and even go into other things on your own. But if you don't sit there and really focus on what they're saying, you'll never know what your options are. And so many people get to the point of working 10, 20, 30 years, and before they realize how important it was for them to take advantage of that money early on. So they've been with a company 10 years at a price. I mean, they had a 401k match, and they never took advantage of it. They lost out on 10 years of free money. And who doesn't like free money? So if you're in a company right now that has a match, and you may say to yourself, and this is for my college graduates, you may say to yourself, Janae, I don't think I have enough in my check to be able to give 3% of my paycheck each time. You need to find the money from somewhere. You need to look into your expenses that you've already started, because you're in a career. You've gotten out on your own. What expenses can you cut back on? Okay. What expenses can you cut back on in order to make up that money? Because you got to get the free money. All right. You got to get the free money. So I'm seeing some of the comments. Somebody says, so true. During the negotiation stage, I negotiated severance package in addition to my salary. See, it's all about negotiation, but a lot of times you got to make sure that you understand these things before going into that first job. So those are the first 3 tips. So those who just joining me on any of the platforms, the first tip was don't spend your entire paycheck. Second tip was to make sure you save $1,500 in a case you're breathing fund. And the third tip was the one we just went over, to pay attention to your benefits. So if you're just joining me on any of the platforms, feel free to watch the replay once everything is done. Now, number 4 is invest in yourself. So these are money tips for college graduates, but it can go for everybody. You're always investing in yourself throughout your career and throughout your life. Like, you can be retired and you can just still be investing in yourself, period. All right. I've been an entrepreneur for 10 years now, and I'm investing myself daily. I am well past new college graduate. But I invest in myself daily, weekly, monthly. Okay. And that's what you have to do as a college graduate. Don't just depend and rely on your company and what they're giving you. Because, of course, for those of you who are going in corporate America, each and every year they're going to give you probably a book to read, a professional development book to read. Companies have ordered my book, The Money Attractor, for their employees to help with financial wellness, those kind of things. You're always going to get books, but you have to invest in yourself outside of that. You have to be able to show the company or the nonprofit you work for or the higher ed institution that you work for your true value. Like, everybody can do the job that you got hired for, but it's up to you to say, okay, I need to learn this person's job. I need to learn that person's job. Let me get a mentor. Let me be able to take on a little bit more responsibilities, because I need to learn what's going on. Because trust me, no institution, no organization, no company is going, like, the day of the gold watch, like you work your 40 years and you get your gold watch, that's gone. So at each point you need to be making yourself more valuable, because just in case that institution, that organization lets you go, lays you off, fires you, whatever it is, you have developed skill sets that can help you get hired quickly somewhere else, and probably at a higher salary. But you can't do that. That's not possible if you're not investing in yourself as you go. And college graduate, I mean that right now. Like, you don't have to wait 3 years into your career and say, oh yes, I'm going to pay my own money and go to this conference to learn more about my industry, or I'm going to start buying books now to learn more. No, it needs to start now. The learning never stops, and it starts now. Okay, it starts now. So make sure that you're investing in yourself. All right. And so last one, number 5, and that's the most important one, yet it is the hardest one to do. You need to learn to say the word no. You need to learn to say the word no. It's very important. You need to say it for the rest of your life. You need to learn to say it for the rest of your life. I am a first generation college graduate. Okay. I'm a first generation college graduate. And whenever I go and speak at corporations, I remember when I was speaking at the New York Times, I always find obviously other first generation graduates, but we all tend to have the same experience. Okay, we have the same experience, and I mean, you even experience it while you're in college as well, but it gets like pushed to a whole new level when money starts coming in, and you become the person with the good job. All right, you become the person with the good job, and if you're the person with the good job, obviously you got that good money that you can share with me, cousin. Okay, because that's what it is. All of a sudden, you cousin, let me hold this, niece, let me hold this, that kind of stuff. And you have to learn to say the word no, because although you may be making more money than anybody in your family has ever made, you usually, especially college graduates today, have more debt on your back than anybody else. The average student loan debt of last year's graduates, I mean, not 2021, 2020, was $40,000. The average, which means there are people lower, there are people much higher. So the people who are asking you for money, guess what? They may make less money than you, but they don't have as much debt as you. They may not have any debt at all. And you're sitting here worrying about how you're going to pay to live in a new city. You're trying to figure out how to pay for transportation back and forth to your job. And you're trying to figure out, how am I going to pay this student loan every month? And then you have people on family and friends asking you for money. So you have to be able to say the word no. The same thing when we're talking about friends. They may not be asking you for money, but they're asking you to go out every weekend. They're asking you to go on trips and so forth. If you don't have the money, don't be ashamed to say, no, I'm good. I'm saving my money right now. I got to make sure I make these bills get paid, all of that. You got to be able to say the word no. Nobody is, if they're truly your friend, they will understand. They say, okay, I got you. When I was paying off that $50,000 of debt in 2 years, guess what? I didn't go out to eat for 2 years, didn't go on vacation for 2 years, didn't buy clothes because my back was against the wall. The reason I'm doing this live with you all, my college graduates, is because I don't want you ever to be in that position. Start the habits now so that you can say no to people and understand that you're building your own bank, like I said before, and you're investing for your future. Nobody is coming to save you. Nobody's coming to save you. So it's up to you to save yourself. And the way to save yourself is to be okay saying no to people. We always hear the saying that you can't pour from an empty cup. And usually people are talking about it from an emotional state and from a mental state and that kind of stuff. You need to think about it also from a financial state. You can't help people if you can't help yourself. So you need to get yourself on a strong financial foundation first. And then you're not loaning people money if they need it, but being able to give it, not expecting it back, because more than likely it ain't coming back. Okay. And if you just give it, all right, and I'm not talking about enabling people, I'm talking about somebody that may really need it and it's a gift, then give it to them and not expect it back. Because when you don't give it as a gift, then when you see that person out on vacation, or you see them getting their hair done or their nails done, you see them having a good time and they haven't given your money back, then guess what? Relationships are ruined. So either get yourself together and get your financial foundation together and then give it as a gift, or just say no and don't loan it at all. Okay. So that is the 5 tips. Just a recap. Number 1, don't spend your entire check. Number 2, make sure you save $1,500 in case you're a breathing fund. Number 3, pay attention to your benefits at work. Number 4, invest in yourself. And number 5, learn to say the word no. Okay, learn to say the word no. Any questions on any of the platforms? I am able to see the chat, and of course, Instagram. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them. This is being recorded, so you will be able to see the replay if you missed the first parts as well. Yeah, so I am in my summer speaking schedule. So it's mostly organizations as well as high school students, and I'll start back with more corporations in the next couple of months, as well as my college students again, because I love them. You're welcome. You're welcome. Someone said thank you on LinkedIn. So feel free, if you know any college students, college graduates, please share this with them. And if you know anyone that is a senior in college, give them a head start so that they can negotiate. Whenever I speak on college campuses, I always have a special section for my ladies to talk about negotiation and salary negotiation, benefit negotiation, all of that good stuff, because we know what we get paid compared to a man. And so they need to know this before they step off of a college campus. So whenever I speak on college campuses, I always make sure that I take the time out to talk to the women in the audience to, help them understand the importance, because if you don't negotiate your value, you miss out on at least $1 million over your working lifetime. That is a lot of money. And I have workshops with college students around entrepreneurship, because I've been an entrepreneur for 10 years now. And I give them the same spiel. I say, you have to negotiate your value. You have to charge your value, even as an entrepreneur. Like I tell people all the time, you can't just pay me anything to come and speak on a campus. I know my value. I've spoken to over now 80,000 students in the last 10 years. I know my value. So, and I want people to understand their value, whether they're an entrepreneur or they're working in corporate America, they're working on a college campus, they're working in a nonprofit, whatever it may be, in the school system, whatever it may be able to show your value and charge for it. All right. So I hope everybody has a great rest of your Friday, and I will see you all next time. I hopefully will do another live next week, maybe around for those that work within that work in the workplace. So people who have worked with me before know that I do financial wellness at organizations and corporations around the world. So maybe I'll do some money tips that I usually share whenever I go speak there. We'll see, that or something else. We'll see. All right. So I hope everybody has a great rest of the day. Bye-bye.